Hi. Hi, Leanne McIntyre here, recording for my Education 503 course, Teachers as Change Agents. Looking at my interventions and what my interventions are in my classroom. My problem for in my classroom right now is the transitions and the time it's taking my students to get moving from one activity to a next. And so as I did some research, I found some common themes behind those causes, some common causes that related. One was that there was a class arrangement issue, something in the class that needed to be changed, whether it was seating, um, organization of materials, things like that. Something in class needed to be arranged. A second was that there were teacher behaviors that were an issue, and there was a lack of management with teachers' behaviors. A third cause was that the students were not understanding the expectations that they were given or that they were expected to do. And the fourth is goes along with teacher behaviors and no lack of management, and that is that there were no routines or expectations or rules set in place, or they were very lackadaisical in their expectations of those. Now, as I looked into the research and the solutions that the researchers looked at, I found a lot of different ways to deal with those. So as we said, the first was the classroom arrangement. And so one of the major themes that we found was that teachers needed to organize their materials or organize their classroom layout. That was a big theme. That's not one of the problems in my room. My kids have all their things in their desk. There's plenty of space to sit on the floor. There's plenty of, they each have their own seat. So that's not an issue in my room. The second that we found a lot of was um, the researchers did video modeling, and that was putting a video on of what they expected the students to do. And for just a lot of reasons, I'm not going to choose to do that one. A third was that they were using coaching with another coach in the school or the teacher expectation forms. So they would have people come in and show what they needed to do. A fourth was play some sort of game. The good behavior game was one of them. There were some that had some other options of what to do. And then another big one was cue cards. And so that's where my intervention kind of led. My question, my research question became, will using an adapted color wheel help to decrease the time spent in transitions while increasing on-task behavior? And to do that, what I had to do is I created a color wheel. And if you think about a stoplight has three colors, red, yellow, green. So I created a wheel that has the three colors, red, yellow, green. And that is posted up. You are only seeing one color at a time when it works properly. And you'll see red, which is going to be we're getting ready to transition and you need to have your areas cleaned off. You have yellow, which means that you are working, but you're independently working. You're not talking, you're not leaving your seat. So if I'm doing some individual testing, they have that ability to sit and do their work, but they're raising their hand and I'm calling on them before they're moving. And then green is they're able to work, they're able to use quiet voice talk, and they're able to work and wander, go get a drink if they need to use the restroom without having to be given express permission. As I'm looking at that color wheel, I have those explicit directions of everything that's expected. That are up as well. And when we do, what I'm looking at is that red transition time. So that yellow and that green is just a good guide for those teacher expectations for students to have so that they know what's expected. But I'm really looking at when they're transitioning, how long is it taking that time? So I came up with 3 different triangulation points to do that. The first was a pre and post survey that the students took and we'll take again at the end. It has 3 questions. The first is pretty easy. What do you do when you change subjects? So they just write some things that they do. The second, why does it take a long time for students to get ready when we change subjects? So kind of like picking their brain. What do they see that's taking so long? And I'm looking for themes in this. And then the third, what do you think we should do when we change subjects? So as we start looking at this, I want their ideas to go, is that going to work, or is that something that we can accommodate or not? At this time, I may not change. I'm not going to change it, but I'm looking for themes as to what they see as necessary. got some really good ideas from their pre-survey. The second task, collection task that I had is my own daily observation journal. And I daily, as we're doing this, I'm asking 3 questions. 1, how did the adapted color wheel work out today? I'm writing just what went well, what didn't go well, what happened. 2, what good things did you notice? Some of the things on the last day I noticed were that the yellow was quieter. When I was on the yellow for whether we're testing, that was a quieter time than it had been before. And then the third question is, what would you look at changing if you did this again? And the first thing is, I would really change our colors. Our colors are the same as our behavior, so I would be changing that. That was my second collection data point. And it's really helping me to kind of really think through that. And then the third one is what I find is the most important. And this is a table. Here's what it looks like. And it has these things. It has the date. So I put the date here. The time of the day when I'm having them go to red, which is stop everything, put everything away, get cleaned up. The subject I was teaching before, whether I was at computers, whether I was doing math, what was I teaching right before we changed? The time it took in seconds or minutes and seconds till all students are on task. Did all students follow the cue card? And the number of the students, or their student number, with a short detail of the issue. And what I'm finding, so here would be what one looks like. You can see all those are filled in. What I'm finding is that it depends on what students are doing and how long the transition takes. I put into an effect that all students needed to be ready to go with their desks completely cleared off, looking at the teacher, and that's really hard for students, but I want to make sure that I'm continuing to do that. So you can tell with my intervention that we're ready to go. We're starting up after fall break for tomorrow, so I'm ready and super excited to continue my intervention, and really able to keep it solid and valid, and really finding it really reliable for me. Thanks.